So last night, I decided to splurge a little bit. And the reason I decided to do it is because of the fact that the previous night, the first part, I should say, or at least half of my unemployment that I'm going to be getting, fully, starting in a couple of weeks, the first half of it, or only half of it, I should say, came in the previous night at 9 p.m. Pacific. And the reason for that, long story short, is depending on where you live, EDD unemployment basically gives you only 1 week out of your regular 2 weeks. In other words, they keep 1 week for themselves, or at least until they have to pay it back to you or something like that, and they only give you the other half of the 2 weeks, to have to utilize for whatever you need, bills, rent, whatever. But anyway, I decided to splurge a little bit with what I had, mainly because it came at a time to where, I do have bills I have to pay, but not as many as I would initially at the beginning of the month. But anyway, to get to the point, I decided to splurge a little bit, and I decided to do something with SudoWrite, which I do have a monthly subscription to, a $19 a month monthly subscription, which is the best I can go with affordably with my budget. I decided to basically finally do something that I was thinking about. Because you see, when your subscription, if you're doing the monthly subscription with SudoWrite, renews every month, they give you a certain amount of credits. In my case, basically, they give me, 300,000 credits, or, letters or words or whatever you want to call it. But again, it all depends on what subscription tier you go with. I guess the more you pay subscription-wise on a monthly basis, the more credits you get for that month. But the only catch, basically, with, the catch mainly with that subscription is those credits can go real fast. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Because for anybody out there, whether they're on a subscription tier that allows them to be more like, hey, I want to create a novel, I want to do an autobiography, or I want to do an essay and stuff like that, they're going to get a huge amount of credits, maybe 6,000, 5,000, 8,000, whatever. But the issue is, if what they are trying to get, SudoWrite to give them from an AI perspective, help them out wise, if you will, doesn't basically match what they want, then they have to basically restart. Or they basically have to erase, what SudoWrite gave them and try something else. The catch on that, though, is they don't get those words, those letters, those credits back. So let's say you have 5,000 credits, or not 5,000, but 500,000 credits, and let's say you decide you're going to tell SudoWrite through the guided portion on the right, on the write settings, if you will, the write, W-R-I-T-E, write settings. You decide to go to guided, and in the guided, you decide, okay, I want this. Or let's say you go to chapter, and you say you want this, and this, and this, and whatever, If SudoWrite doesn't give it to you initially as you want, then basically, you're going to erase that. You're going to be like, no, that's not what I wanted. And the catch is you don't get those words, those credits back. So let's say the credits and words you end up seeing SudoWrite use to try to give you what you hope you want, but they don't. Let's say those credits and words or whatever are like 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever. You end up losing, those credits. You don't get them back if it's not what you want. So you go from like 500,000 to 497. And over time, it just keeps going and going and getting lower and lower and lower and lower. Now, the catch that the catch that Sudo has to kind of keep you, subscribed to them, to kind of keep you on the good side, is when you do run out of your monthly credits, especially when you're in the process of working on something, they will give you an extra amount of credits. Like they will give you a lifesaver of credits, from around maybe 10,000 to 20,000 extra credits to finish whatever you were working on when you ran out of credits, or words or letters, whatever you want to call it. But they also have another option. And that option is to buy extra credits. Yeah. You can actually spend money and buy it. And they do have 3 options. If you need just a certain amount of credits to finish something, you can go $5 and get 100,000 credits. Okay, cool. Or let's say you want to just have enough to finish something and then maybe start something else. You can go the $19 route and get 500,000 credits. And you figure, okay, that's cool too. Not wasting as much, still have a little left over. Cool, no problemo. But then they have the $49 option, which, if you can afford it, gives you 1,750,000 credits, words, letters, if you will. And that's what I did yesterday. The moment after I waited a little after 8 o'clock, because what I did the night prior after I guess you could say the financial outlet where the money goes in, via EDD, after I went to the financial outlet website and, logged in and all that, what I did is I went to the transfer portion of it, kind of put in the information I needed from my bank and basically transferred all of that payment they gave me into my bank. And I had to wait all of yesterday for it to finally go in around 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific. Now, I did give it about 15 minutes afterwards to make sure it all settled in, not to, I guess you could say, cause any suspicion or things like that. And long story short, after I gave it, an extra 15, 20 minutes to kind of settle in, if you will, to ensure everything was on the up and up, I decided to splurge. And because I've been thinking about it, I decided I'm going to buy and add to my account the 1,750,000 credits, aka words, letters, on SudoWrite, knowing that within the next week, my account will renew. Hopefully I'll have the money in there, which I should. My account will renew, and I'll end up probably having close to almost 2 million, maybe. Because already I'm at 1 million, let me double check here. I'm already at 1,724,882 credits / words / letters, if you will. And that's basically from when I started. But what's interesting though, is instead of giving me, right out of the gate, 1,750,000 credits, or 1,750,000 credits, I should say, instead of giving me that right off the bat, instead it only gave me 1,007,400. It only gave me 1 million. Hold on for a second. Almost had a brain fart there. But initially, instead of giving me 1,750,000 credits, it gave me 1,748,000 something credits instead. That's what it gave me. But yeah, initially it should give you 1,750,000 credits. Now, like I said, as of this recording, which is at 2:12 p.m. on this Tuesday, basically I am now down to 1,724,882 credits, words, letters, if you will. Now, why would I choose to go down this path knowing I'm going to get renewed? Like I said, what it will do is it will add, my renewal will add the 300,000 to this and give me close, I should say, to almost 2 million words, which is pretty cool. And to me, that's plenty of credits, words, whatever, that I can use and not have to be so worrisome about wasting, any of it because I want to try to have something done a certain way. And to me, I look at it like that's the best option you can go with, once in a blue moon or once in a while. Just add to it. You can even add small, like you go the $5 route, the $19 route, and either get 100,000 or 500,000, and you wouldn't have to worry about blowing your wallet, blowing your budget that much, because if you have the money to do so, initially getting the $49 one gives you a lot of wiggle room. It gives you wiggle room not only for you to have your subscription renewed, and everything, and have the credits added on to what you now have, but also if you decide you want to do a little bit more here and there, you can have enough wiggle room to spend a 5 or a 19 here and there if you want to add more. And I think that's great. Now, let's say you can't renew your subscription due to financial reasons, then you're going to be okay, because these credits, apparently they never expire, and you're allowed to use these credits even if your subscription cannot be renewed. But once it is renewed, you'll be okay. You'll be more than okay, because when it does get renewed, like I said, those credits get added on, which I think is great. So for someone like me, for someone like me that has the $19 a month subscription, which is known as the hobby and student, and me using more so the hobby portion of that tier, for someone like me, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it, because I can, test the waters, with little creative ideas here and there. But you know what I also noticed as well? It seems that the more you do spend, not just on a subscription tier, but more on a, credit words tier, if you will, I've noticed the more you spend, especially the $49 for the 1,750,000 credits, I noticed the more you spend, it seems that they give you a little bit more leeway. Yeah. Let me explain. See, I think I've mentioned this before. Let's say you want to do an incestual lesbian story between, let's say, Sally Acorn of Sonic the Hedgehog and her mom, Queen Alicia Acorn of Archie Sonic the Hedgehog, the Archie Sonic comics, that is. Let's say you want to do that. And let's say you want to get wild and crazy and whatever with them, right? It seems that initially, if you do that with your regular subscription credits, that are given to you, I should say, on a monthly basis, it seems that after a while, they'll kind of start limiting you. They'll give you that warning of, this violates, this potentially violates, our protocol, or this is, we can't do this because, there's minors involved. Even if you say the character of, let's say, Sally Acorn is 21 years of age or 22 years of age or whatever, it'll give you that warning. But it seems that if you add a little bit more to it, like if you spend a little bit more money and add like 1,000 more credits or 5,000 more credits, it seems they do give you a little bit more leeway. But when you get to a certain amount of the credits, that's when things get, kind of, strange. Like, you start seeing those warnings. But when you probably go this route, like I did, and splurge a little bit, it seems that you do have more leeway. Like, you don't see that warning of, violation because of this and that show up as much, if at all. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to show up on me. But as far as I'm concerned, as of right now, it hasn't done that. And it might be a timing issue. I'm not really sure. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm just testing the waters, coming up with a little silly creative scenarios, see what would happen. And it doesn't seem like it's coming up on me like it would. So to me, I'm thinking, is it because I spent that much to get, these many credits? I'm just curious. So that is something to look out for if you decide, if you decide to use SudoWrite, which I understand many have, here on the social media. that's something to look out for if you use this AI writing, application. Because of the, because if you just decide, oh, I want a subscription, at 19 or whatever, dollars, tier you have to choose, you might get a little leeway until you get to like a certain amount of credits remaining, and then you might see something. But again, it just feels like it feels a little weird. It feels like, something's a little strange here, like, it's like the more you spend, the more leeway you have, the more privileges you have. Like, it's kind of like, let's say when you decide to go with a streaming platform, like let's say TNA Wrestling. TNA Wrestling has, plenty of tiers, has like 2 or 3 tiers. And the highest tier you can go with gives you everything. You get basically access to everything. But if you don't, and you go with a lesser tier, you'll get access to some things, but not the whole shebang, if you know what I mean. So, to me, that's what it feels like here. It feels like, what's going on is the higher subscription tier you pay for, if not the higher amount you pay for credit-wise, words and letters, basically, the higher you go, the more privileges you have. But again, that's just my opinion as of right now. For all I know, in the next 10, 20 minutes, I could get that freaking warning, because I'm just messing around, just seeing like, how creative and how far and unlimited I can go with any ideas that come to my head, in the meantime. Like right now, it's 2:20 p.m. on this Tuesday. Who knows? Who knows what other ideas creatively I could come up with just to test the waters, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it seems the more you spend, the more leeway you have. But again, maybe that's just me. But anyway, though, I wanted to come on here and let you know that if you ever decide, if you do use SudoWrite, I should say, if you do use an outlet like SudoWrite, my suggestion is, if they give you the subscription tiers, it's up to you whatever subscription tier you want to use, depending on your preference. But if it also offers you the ability to add more time, more words, more letters, credits, if you will, to your account, then my suggestion is, if you can afford it, go with the one that's going to give you the most. Like, it might cost, a lot more, but if you can afford to do it at that time, go for it, so that way it'll give you wiggle room down the line to not only focus on your other payments you got to do or other things you got to do with your money, like bills and groceries and all that, but if you decide to add more credits down the line, it allows you to have a little bit more wiggle room to spend maybe 5 or 19 here and there to add, to the current amount you already paid for, along with your subscription credits being added onto it as well. But yeah, that's just my suggestion, for anybody that is utilizing SudoWrite or an AI writing software like it. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below, live chat during the premiere. Like the video if you're watching on YouTube, and comment in the live chat if you're watching on YouTube. And until then, I will talk to y'all later. And I do apologize if I sounded a little weird here vocally. I'm getting over a little bit of a cough. I took some Dayquil and some Vapor Cool honey lime, or honey flavored, lemon honey flavored cough drops, I should say, to help out. But again, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below. For any of you that are using SudoWrite or a system like it, do you kind of agree with my strategy, basically, that once in a while, if you can afford it, to go with a higher amount of credits and everything, so that you could just add on to it later on with your subscription renewal, and also small payments here and there for like 1,000 credit, 100,000 credits, and 100,000 credits and everything of $5 or $19? Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment below. Live chat during the premiere if you're watching on YouTube. And until then, I'm out.